And well, come on in. Yeah, so we've dedicated our whole factory to passive house quality windows and doors. And so what does that mean? Why passive house quality windows and doors? How are they different from the regular doors that are being traditionally manufactured here in North America? Well, a passive house window and door is going to have better thermal resistance, more air tightness. It's going to allow for a larger glazing pocket, so you can fit a true triple pane glass in there. So if you're at home right now in a conventional home, and you look at your window and it's a double hung window or a single hung window, it's going to have more frame area, which is typically your lowest performing part of your window assembly, because it's going to have that check rail in the middle, and it's not going to be completely airtight because it's going to have maybe 1 or 2 locking points. It's going to rely on just a little brush to help keep that air out, or air leakage from going out. And it's going to have a more narrow glazing pocket. So that's really then possibly you can have a casement window, which to the naked eye looks like our tilt-turn window, except the casement window swings out. And so now your sash is exposed to the elements, and once again, it may have 1 or 2 locking points along with it, and the sash is, now that it's exposed to the elements, can move and then eventually create not such a great seal. Also, the frames are not as thermally resistant as a passive house or high performance window frame like ours, and it doesn't have as much air sealing or locking points like ours. And so the tilt turn design really lends itself to a much higher performance. Actually, a tilt turn was originally invented as a high security window in Germany in 1934. And then they said, wow, we have an airtight window, because they made all these locking points that go around the whole sash. Then they said, okay, well, now we have an airtight window. Let's design the frame so that it's more thermally resistant. Let's make the glazing pocket wider so we can fit better glass packages in there. And so how does a tilt-turn window work? Well, this is the outside of our window. And then it turns in like this. And you say, hey, Johnny, come in for dinner. You know, like that. Or most of the time people open it up is like this, in tilt mode. And that's how you're going to get nice ventilation. It's going to be tilting in like this. And even if you leave it tilted in, you walk out and suddenly there's a rainstorm, or the rain's going to hit the glass, and it's going to trickle down, and it's going to go either down the face of the frame or between the gasket and then out the weep holes. So it's a great design, and for air tightness, weather tightness, and thermal resistance. And you can see that it comes in this Cylon black and other colors as well. And so here's a cross section. So how do we achieve this thermal resistance? We achieve the thermal resistance by having a nice wide frame. And this is 76 millimeters wide, and in each one of these honeycombs is an insulative chamber. And so this is a 6-chamber, 3-gasket system. And so you count your chambers like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we have 3 gaskets, 1 gasket here, 1 gasket here, and then we have a middle gasket. Now the front and back gasket are super important for your air tightness, while the middle gasket really, here, let's keep going here. While the middle gasket is I love to point out our middle gasket because it's always leaning, putting positive pressure on the sash, and it's very important for weather tightness. So this positive pressure is made from this extrusion here, and it's tilted. So now that extrusion is also melted to quickly drain out any water that does come into between the sash and the frame out through the weepholes.
Darren, can we get a close-up on the gaskets?
Sure. So this is what I'm talking about, this middle gasket right here. Whoop, where's my finger? There, right there, that middle guy right there. And you can see that these gaskets are also, they're co-extruded with our profile. So that means that our corners are welded when the frame gets welded. So that allows for no seams in the corners. It also means that because it's part of the frame system, it carries the same 20-year warranty that the frame carries. Now, if something happened and the gaskets need to replace, actually they can be pulled out and replaced. So it's even though it's co-extruded, but other systems have to have their gaskets rolled in later. Ours are co-extruded. So now we're entering the factory. Let's go on a tour. So there's a window is made up of three basic components. You have your frame, your glass, and your hardware. And the story really begins with your frame. The lineals come in from Europe. Preset water. So lineals come in from Europe. Right now in stock, we have enough lineals to make over 2,000 windows. And we store them here. And the important thing about these lineals is that they may come in from Europe, but they're made specifically for us. We have them specifically made for North America because these windows are being manufactured in North America and being installed in North America. When you have a product that's coming from other locations, it's made for those locations. We have different UV. We have more UV in all of North America, so we can go down to the southern tip of Mexico, to the northern tip of Canada. We have wider temperature gradations than they have in Northern and Central Europe. So we have a specific profile that's formulated just for our climate. And so a lineal gets pulled out and put up and placed on the machine. So you place an order with us. We design your whole window package in our software, and then from anywhere in the world, from my laptop or my home computer or from our computer here in the office, we can send that job to our automated machining center. And then we have our technician pull out the profile, place it in the machine, and then the robot grabs the profile, and it knows, wait a second, you said we were making frames, you put a sash profile in here, and then we'll stop. Okay, now assuming you put the right one in there, it takes it, and it goes into the machining center, and that's where a lot of magic happens. This machining center takes out a lot of the guesswork, or a lot of any chances of human error, because it's going to cut the profile. It's going to mill all the specific millings that need to be in place for your window to perform. So if you need your handle placed at a very specific height for ADA purposes, it will mill the handle exactly where you need it milled. Where the weep holes need to be put, it's going to put the weep holes. It's going to put the pressure equalization holes. It can mark all sorts of other things. It also puts the holes for the screens. And then once that's all done, it prints out a label. We put the label on the bar, and then that bar is tracked with the whole window from it's like its birth certificate. This is the birth certificate for the window, and it gets tracked, and it gets married with its brothers and sisters and welded together in our welding center. But it has all the information on that birth certificate that we need. It's going to tell us, hey, what kind of steel you need to put in there, because we put steel in all our windows to make sure they're very, very strong. Not only just the sashes, but also the frame, and we make and that's why our windows have an AW60 rating. They're very, very strong windows and can be installed in very high buildings. We also have a special machine that punches all the holes for in the steel for the handles, and we have lots of different configurations of steel to fit the needs of the job, what the design pressures are. And so how does that steel get into the window? So the technician, on the birth certificate, the steel is going to be labeled. If we pull it out of a cart that we have over here that's been pre-cut earlier in the process, it gets put in place into the frame, or the sash, whatever the case may be, and then it goes on to our robotic screwing center. These are our robot overloads. And so then we look at the birth certificate. It tells us bin 24. We place it in bin 24. And once the cart gets all filled up, we pull the cart over to our welding area. Now, this is a nifty little spot. This nondescript workstation is actually pretty important. It helps us reduce the any chances for. It helps us speed up the process and reduce any chances for error on where the hardware needs to be located. Because in our machining center, we have programmed the machining center to precisely locate where all the catches need to be for the cams, for the locks, so that you can have them placed in the most optimal location. There's no one sitting there measuring with a ruler or a tape measure on where the locks need to be placed. They're placed precisely by the computer in the CNC machining center. And so when we get here, in the bar sked here, we see the machining spot and the hardware gets placed on. Then the frame goes in for welding. You pull the bar out of the batch, you scan it, then the welder knows exactly what size the frame or the sash that you're going to weld is. And it opens up to that size. You place the bars in, you press the button, and it pushes the frame or the sash under heat and pressure so that it's welded at the exact size. And now we're talking at a temperature, you don't want to touch this because it's 250 degrees Celsius. It is pretty hot. And funny enough, this weld, it actually becomes the strongest part of the window frame itself. It is, so when we test our corners, we put them under pressure, and we pressurize the corner so that the frame breaks. If the corner breaks, if the weld breaks first, then there's either an issue with the temperature or the amount of pressure or the amount of time that the welder runs. So periodically, we're always testing to make sure that the calculations have remained the same. And now, when you're working, it's important to know where you need everything. Working neat is not only it saves time, but it also saves error. And you have hardware in stock to keep your jobs moving. So now that's actually when you weld it, like I said, it's welding under pressure. So a little bit of the material gets pushed up, and it needs to be clean. And now, so we send. So once it's ready, once it needs to be clean, The robot goes down there and grabs it. And it's going to send it over to our CNC corner cleaning station. And it knows at this point, because it was scanned in with the barcode, is this a color profile? Is it a white profile? Is it color on both sides? Color on one side? And it's telling me, this is my favorite spot. So it's really good. Makes beautiful, beautiful corners, cleaning off the material. It's getting in there. It's taking away the built-up material in the gaskets, so the gaskets don't fold up in the corners and could prevent the window from having a good seal in the corners. And the robot's going to rotate it 3 times now. And this process allows us to do really super high volume and with a minimal amount of staff while keeping good distance from all of the co-workers to keep everyone safe. This job right here is one of the reasons why we were really super excited to dedicate our factory to making high performance passive house quality windows. Because we wanted to dedicate our factory to that because we wanted to build, we wanted to bring a more sustainable product to as many people as possible. And we wanted to be able to bring them to people in a much better lead time. And this project is for a large multi-family affordable housing project in New York City. Now that sash is done, and that would go, the sash would go onto the sash tape. Most of the hardware for a tilt-turn window is installed on the sash. The catches that we saw earlier, those are installed on the frame, and that's pretty much it for the frame. The sash gets the bulk of the hardware right here. It's our sash tape. So we place it on, the window gets centered by the machine, and we line it up with the laser, and it's and we screw in the hardware. The machine automatically sizes the material so that it cuts all the hardware the exact size needed for that. Now, so then the sash and the frame need to be married together. So now you have the hardware on the sash and you have the hardware on the frame, and they get placed on there together. Now this spot is also really one of the most important spots in the whole factory. This is our team tape. Every morning we have our morning meeting, and we get together as a team to discuss, okay, what went wrong yesterday? What went right? What do we need to do today? And this is our meeting spot. At the end of the day, we organize our tools, what we worked on, and so the sash and the hardware gets the sash and the frame get put together here. But this is also our
Darren, hold on a second. The audio is very bad. Maybe you can get a little bit closer.
And it's the compressor. Let me cut. I'll shut it off. Okay. And what did you miss? Did you miss my spiel about the team table? Go.
Yeah,
Maybe say it again. Go for it again.
All right. Team table, take two. Hello. This is where the sash and the frame get married together. And this is also a very important, one of my favorite spots in the factory, because this is our team table. This is where we get together as a group and we talk in the morning. Okay, what needs to get done today? What did we do wrong yesterday? What can we do better? What did we do right? What can we build upon? And also, this is where a location where a lot of the very fun things in the factory happen. So a lot of the specials, big doors, shapes, triangular windows. So this is a lot of fun stuff happens in this area right here. But so after the sash and the frame are married together, then they get sent off to the glazing rack, which we'll go to next. But before, let's take a look at this fun thing we have right here. This is a parallel slide. It's a pretty big parallel slide. It's different from, if you are used to the passive house world, you're probably used to looking at lift-in slides, which are beautiful doors, and we make those too. We make balcony doors, we make entry doors, we do French doors, and we do parallel slides. And what's nice about the parallel slide is that it's much more cost effective than the lift-in slide, and it's an extremely airtight solution. So it's great for passive house because it's as airtight as our window system. And if you closes like if you've ever been on an airplane, you can see that it closes like an airplane door. But here's a beautiful lift-in slide that we just finished recently. I think it's on. Lift-in slides are gorgeous, and what's great about a lift-in slide is that they can be built to huge sizes. We can build a lift-in slide that's 22 feet wide by 9.5 feet high. So we can build some very, very large lift-in slides. But we were talking about windows, so come on over and see what happens with our window next. So we've now selected our profile. We put the steel in the profile. The profile then got welded. Then we put the hardware on the profile. Then the frame and the sash got married together. And the next key component of a window is glass. And one of the beautiful things about having your own window factory is that you can do a lot of things that can benefit the project. So if we can design in-house all our glass packages to fit the project's needs. So we discuss with our clients what the priorities for the glass package are, and we can formulate a glass package that best suits those priorities. And the glass gets put on here in one of our glazing racks. This is one of our glazing stations right here. I
Okay.
Okay. So now we're ready to glaze. So we pop the glass in here, but the important thing when glazing is how the glass gets shimmed into the opening. This could be an issue for a lot of folks because if it's not properly shimmed, over time the sash may move. And that can cause the sash to drag. And people think, oh, I have a hardware issue. What actually happens in those cases, it could be that the factory didn't properly shim the glass. So we always have to make sure that we are counter shimming the glass so that the glass is lifting, it's pushing itself up in the right way. and the glass gets placed in here. Glazing beads get popped on, and then it's time to inspect the window. And the window gets opened. It's getting blown for air. So all the drainage holes are blown through to make sure any debris that was lodged inside the cavities during the manufacturing process are blown out so that the water can flow through very freely. Then the gaskets are checked, and then the operation of the window is checked. First thing you want to make sure is the handle going straight down. If it's a little bit this way, it could be an issue with hardware. So you have to check that, and then you check the check the hardware. There's you also stand back 5 feet from the window, and you look at the window, and you look at it from other angles to make sure it meets all our visual requirements. And once the window is checked, then it's ready to be packaged and delivered.
Want to talk about the ratings of the windows?
The what of them?
The U values and.
Oh, well, yes. Thank you very much. My partner Ross suggested that I talk about U values, which I think is probably very important to many of you. So our windows, our frame has a UF value. That's just the thermal value of the frame of 0.17 BTUs per hour foot squared Fahrenheit. Then the glass, we have glass packages that go down to as low as 0.10, but typical glass packages are around 0.12, and give you, depending on the frame to glass ratio, gives you a total window U value of somewhere around 0.14 to 0.19. Depending on that frame to glass ratio and the amount of mullions that you have and such. And like I said, we have a AW60 testing, which means that it meets very high structural loads for deflection and also water leakage and air leakage. Additionally, we have OITC testing as well, which is very, very prominent and becoming more and more important in urban areas. The OITC is for sound test, sound transmission. And these windows really perform very well in reducing the amount of street noise that comes in, especially that lower register of traffic or train rumble, because of its multi-gasketed, thick frames and superior glazing packages. We could really make some quiet windows, and that's one of the things that I notice about our windows when they're installed. As much as this superb thermal comfort is really just how much more quiet the space is, and so it makes me think about, the window as a component is just so important. It's the one component in your building where your whole envelope is coming together at that one spot. In terms of aesthetic, your aesthetic siding, your interior design, your air tightness, your thermal insulation, your heating strategy. How much solar heat gain are you going to get? Your ventilation strategy all comes in at this one component, and we want to work and support you and your whole project. So I think I think that was maybe everything I have on my list. Certifications, like what? I thought I spoke about certifications. We have NFRC certifications as well. So yeah, NFRC,
lead time.
PwC.
Lead time.
Oh, lead time. Yeah, our
That make us better than.
Yeah, so our typical lead times are between 4 and 8 weeks and for our standard items, and that is so with this processing center, we could do 450 frames in 8 hours. So we could really crank things out. And one of the important things too is like, if you actually, Ross, if you want to just swing over here, is what's this? This is another corner cleaner. And what's that over there? That's another screwing center. And what's this over here? That's another welder. So one thing you're not going to hear from us is, oh, the machine went down. No, we have triplicate of everything because it's important to make sure that we keep the jobs moving, and we use this area for our specials. So it's as well. So this is like if you have a triangular window, we'll make it on that on those welders over there. So should we move into question and answer period? If anyone has any questions or thoughts.
Yeah, that would be great. Sean, do you mind sharing the slides again just for a moment, and maybe say just
Mounting box.
Oh no.
Come on, the glass.
Oh.
Oh, something up.
Okay, did that work? Can you see the Wythe
Yes.
Windows screen?
Yes, I can see the Wythe window. So,
But they're going to go back. They're just going to rotate this a little bit.
yeah, that's cool.
Mounting. I see the question.
Oh, really? Oh. Okay. Well, Gall's going to ask questions.
I'm gonna ask all the questions. I think, Darren, we received a lot of questions that are kind of like informative, so can run through them quickly, and I got a few more questions that are a little bit more complicated that maybe I'll even call out the names of the people, and they can ask them themselves. So, but first, let's just. Sean, can you go back with the slides for a second?
Yeah, are you not seeing the slides?
We're seeing just the Wythe Windows slides. Can you go to the New Jersey?
I think
There you go.
Passive House? Yeah, cool. So just, two parties. Sean talked about it at the beginning, but, if you want to volunteer with us or, watch out for further events, we want to do more of these. This is the first one that we're doing in the virtual world, but we really want to move forward. Next slide, Sean. And same goes for Green Home NYC. We really want to try and serve the community in New York City and beyond. This is an opportunity for Green Home NYC to reach out and visit a place outside New York City. And we're looking forward for more participation. And if you want to volunteer, the get involved information is here. And then I'm actually pretty much looking forward for the North American Passive House Network conference. It's going to be an interesting Wednesday afternoon during the summers. And to anyone who hasn't done the designer training, this is a great opportunity because I always hear from people that they don't have time to do that. And it's a great learning. And from this side, I really want to go. I think people ask a lot of questions. So I'm just going to run through it. Sean, you can remove the slides when you want. And so quick question, Darren. Are the windows PVC or do they have fiberglass in them?
That's a great question. So our windows are 100% UPVC. And one thing I neglected to mention was that we do a lot of recycling here. We recycle the product after it's been cut. We recycle our steel, our glass comes with cardboard. We recycle our cardboard, but there's no recycled content in our window. It's 100% virgin material. And that may sound like, oh boy, I would want recycled content, but actually you don't, because predominantly most of the material that's coming in from Europe is being recycled, and when you look at the cross section of that recycled material, it's gray in the center, and that gray material that you see there is mixed with older windows that have lead in them. And so it's important to have a virgin material that's 100% lead free, like ours.
Cool.
And then, I'm sorry, just to add on to that is that at that point, then our window can be recycled 7 times over, but these windows are going to last your lifetime and plus. And they can, and then if you like an aluminum look, there's aluminum cladding available, and there's other different finishes that we put onto our windows that make them look really slick, like those foil finishes. I think that you saw some earlier.
Okay. Dan, what is the material of the lineal?
What is the material?
For the lineal? For the.
That's what we were just talking about. Is the it's UPVC.
Okay, cool. And outswinging windows, problem to do that?
Outswinging windows. So we have a very special client that needed needed something like this, but it's not part of our everyday offering. Our system is designed to be its most effective thermally and weather and airtight with the in-swing tilt turn. And as I first showed earlier, if you're not familiar with the tilt turn, 99% of the time that you're going to open it is with it in tilt mode for ventilation. The other times when you turn it, you're going to turn it open to clean, which is super convenient. Imagine having to clean the outside of your casement window or the outside of your double hung window. It's much more difficult. So this is super easy to clean, and it's and then, like I said, it would be you would open it mostly for cleaning or to yell at your neighbor to get off your yard or something.
That's cool. What about historic windows, Darren? Can you make that?
So it depends on the level of the needs of the historic preservation committee that you're presenting to. There's at some point, some of them are more strict than others, but we can do a lot of different things to satisfy the historic needs. So the funny thing is that the most cost-effective way is also the most thermally beneficial way, and that's just to add a cosmetic check rail to make it look like a double hung. Now, but that also is probably the least convincing of ways to make a historic window. So you could add cosmetic check rails, you could add grids and things like that. But if you really needed to do the next step, I would say, would be to put a structural integral mullion between a lower operational sash and then a fixed upper sash. And then if you needed to offset that to create that shadow line of the double hung, then we could actually then build a fixed frame above and an operable window below, and then put them into one large box. And that's but I would say at that point too, probably the committee, if they're that strict, the committee at that point is probably not accepting UPVC, and you may be better off with a wood passive house historic window.
Cool. I think you answered, Darren, the question of the NFRC values, right? You have them? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have testing.
And screens are possible. I think I asked that question at one point.
Yes. Our screen system is quite unique, actually. If you are familiar with passive house windows and you've had them imported in the past, you get these metal tabs that you have to stick in and interrupt your gasket. And that gasket, you leave that in for a season or two, that gasket keeps that memory. and you'll never get that air tightness or that weather tightness that you were expecting and hoping to have. So we actually developed a system where the screen it sits flush against the outside of the frame, and it has two retractable plungers that go into the frame on the bottom, and then another two that go into at the top of the frame. And there's no interruption of the gasket. And it's a great system. And actually, if we were doing this tour 1 week from now, you would see our new screen machine that's arriving. So next week, let's do the same time. I'll meet you all back.
Thank you, Darren. What did I see here? Just a question about the limit stop. Is it approved for as a child guard by the DOB? Do you know?
Yes, great question. We have, come on over here. Let's take a look together. Over here, we have an NYC DOH approved restrictor. Yeah, this is it.
Yep.
This is an NYC DOH approved restrictor, and this will be going into all those social housing windows that you were seeing earlier. The one we did demoed is actually a real window that's going into affordable housing, and those will all get these NYC DOH approved restrictors. Now, there's other ways. If you don't need this, there's other ways to use restrictors and different restrictors that we have. We have also break stays. Another one of the very fun, nice things about owning your own factory is that you can come up with different solutions for people. And so break stays are really neat because you can open the window, turn the handle, and the sash locks in place where you want it to. And so that's another option.
Darren, and Darren, some questions about production. So what's the minimum order that you will take? Like one window is something you would take, and then in terms of volume of production, how many people do you have working for you? And I think you mentioned it in brief, but maybe you can say a few more words about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've the minimum order we've accepted is one window. We will not take orders for half windows. So no half windows. And we'll take orders into the thousands. So for me, it makes no difference. We design the window, we put it in the computer, and I send it to the machine, and the window gets made. So it's no problem. One window or 100,000 windows. In terms of people, a few weeks ago, we had as many as 10 people, but we also, during this new era of COVID, we had to, make sure that we're working people at the right distances so that everyone can stay safe, and so that's been cut in half.
Excellent. Drake Chan had a few performance question. Actually, I'm gonna try and unmute you, Drake. Do you want to just ask your question yourself? Because maybe you'll do a better job at that. Drake, are you there? I tried, Drake. No. You had a question about the DP rating and the AW rating for the Windows.
Mm-hmm. Do you just want me to speak to that, or is there something specific?
He was asking if there are DP rating, and let me see about the AW rating.
Yeah. So we have DP ratings as high as DP 75, and that would be for in the CW class, which is an AMA standard. It's a commercial AMA Windows standard. And then we also have a AW60, which is essentially a 60 DP. design pressure, which is the architectural class, which is a higher standard than the CW class, and the gateway sizes is huge. You're talking about a window that's 60 wide by 90 high, and then that gets tested they twist the window. That window goes through war. It goes and if it survives the battle, you get a certificate at the end. And so it means that it can go into some very, very high buildings. We're comfortable in a single family, and we're comfortable in 26 stories up in the air or greater.
Excellent. I think someone asked if you can give more details about the affordable housing project that you mentioned, and whether it was financed by HPD or another city agency. If you can say.
So the project is for a large owner of affordable housing in New York City. And it's being organized by a group that does energy efficiency work to a whole building. So they'll do work on the boilers, they'll do work on changing the lighting, and they'll do work on windows, and they'll do work on ventilation, and then from them taking that whole building approach, they're able to get certain funding from the city and from the state, and maybe I think even federal programs, and create a case for the reduction on the whole energy usage of the building, and so we're one of the components that they're bringing into that whole package. Does that help?
Jessica, did this help? Yes, you did.
Yes.
Justin was asking something about the windows. Let me see. I wasn't able to unmute him. So
No, I'm here now. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. So you can do your question for yourself.
No. So Darren, I was actually hoping that you could go in a little bit closer on the two different sliders, like just to so we can tell the difference between them, because it was hard to tell what was really the difference in how you open and close each of them.
Sure. And so so the parallel slide is more airtight than the lift-in slide, because it actually has a compressive seal on all four sides, unlike the lift-in slide, which is extremely airtight. I mean, it's completely suitable for passive house. So not to say that it's not, but it has a threshold at the bottom, and so it doesn't have as that kind of direct compression seal like the parallel slide. The parallel slide is made with a combination of our window and door frame systems, while the lift and slide has a totally different frame system, and there is greater economy in the parallel slide, because because like I said, it's made with our window and door system, which allows us to use a lot of the automated processing that we use for our windows, and we take that savings in time and we pass that on to you. And with a lift and slide, much of the work has to be done manually with multiple people over multiple days, and so it's an incredible system, and you can do some incredible designs, a lot more design freedoms with the lift and slide. And then also the big downside to the parallel slide is, because it has that airtight compression seal on the bottom, that means that it has a step. So you have to step, and then you'll see that there's an exterior track here, and there's an exterior track here. And so they're very beautiful looking tracks, but they are exterior tracks. While a lift and slide, oh yes, but while the lift and slide has all its hardware hidden inside the frame, which also leads to why there's a lot more work there. Now, I'd love to show you the amount of locking points on this door. So you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 locking points. My God, I'm like crazy. So it's going to be extremely airtight. And what's nice about both these doors, you can put them in nighttime ventilation mode, where that they could just be, cracked just a little bit and locked, and you still have the same exact security you would have if they were locked, or maybe not the same exact, but still it's very, very secure. And you get the free flow of some nighttime coolants. Any other thoughts or questions? Should we take a look at this? Well, let's take a look at this piece right over here. So you can see here, much lower threshold. This can be designed to sync this threshold. There's also additional profiles for this threshold to ramp it. There's even a system that we can offer where you have a 0 threshold here. So it really a lot more design capabilities with this system. And so with that design flexibility comes some additional costs, it's about choosing priorities. What makes the most sense for the project? And we're happy to offer both systems. This is an 88 millimeter frame, so it's a little thicker, and it's able to also accommodate a much beefier steel package, which can get us to much bigger sizes.
Darren, people are asking how much is the parallel slide that you're showing now?
Well, I would say to them, this one right here, I don't have the price off the top of my head, but send me your plans, and I'll be glad to quote out the ones you need. No, I don't know the price.
Darren, how well are these windows doing in marine environments? A representative from Jersey Shore.
Yeah. So great question. We just had some windows installed right down on the Jersey Shore. Our system has Miami-Dade hurricane certification, so they're able to withstand some pretty dramatic pressures. We're designing a system also that's kind of a midway point between not going all the way to Miami-Dade, but also satisfying that impact needs that some people are requesting for the shores of Long Island and such.
Who makes the glass, Darren? Are you working with different glass companies, or?
Well, I think this current time, as illustrated better than anything other, is to have a diverse amount of suppliers in your portfolio. We actually have 2 glass suppliers that we use regularly, and others that we use for special items. But one of them was forced to shut down in AGC was forced to shut down in Pennsylvania, and we were able to rely on our guardian partners in Canada. Both fantastic companies, both with great glass. And what I like about them is that I'm able to mix and match different needs and different priorities for my clients. It allows us to offer a wider variety of glazing solutions and spacers. So we have we can offer an extremely low psi value spacer that's made of foam. We can offer a very low psi value spacer that's the Technoform spacer. That's our typical spacer, which has a psi value of 0.018 BTUs per linear foot, or if you want watts, I think it's a 0.034 watts per meter Kelvin. Yeah, a lot of different solutions out there for our class. I think I'm going to ask myself a question, and it's going to be about hardware because I didn't touch on enough about hardware. So, if you will indulge me, there's a lot of different ways to configure your hardware, and the amount of locking points, as you could see earlier with that large lifting slide, we go over the top with our locking points, and then also the type of hardware that you use. All the hardware we use are with these mushroom cams, and the mushroom cams grab in much tighter than a regular roller cam, which is going to be less costly. And a lot of the European importers, where they have factories in Europe that are doing 5,000 units a day, they're counting, they need to count every single penny and economize, while our focus is just trying to provide the best product we can. Every cam is a locker, is a mushroom cam. And we maximize our locking points. We're able to fit our system, like I said earlier, for the handle height to make it more accessible, and we can tweak it, our system as well, to reduce the amount of torque on the handle.
Excellent. Darren, Drake, can you speak now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I think I asked a second question in regards to the profiles. I think you mentioned that the profiles are extruded in Europe, and then they're shipped over here to the U.S. Now, is anybody allowed to extrude these profiles here in the U.S.? And so that you don't have to ship it all the way from Europe and just license the profile to be made here.
Yeah, our system is extruded in Europe. They've been extruding these type of window systems for over 60 years. So there's a lot of institutional knowledge there that's really valued. We keep a huge amount of stock in place, as you see earlier, so that we can anticipate needs for our clients. So the importing it from Europe has not been so much an issue. It's just one component of the window that comes in, and like I said, we have it specifically formulated for us to meet our climate needs.
I would like to add something.
Okay.
I think he was referring to the fact why it's not extruded in the USA. And the problem is the volume in the USA does not justify an extrusion center, right, because an extrusion center needs to extrude PVC 24/7. And the volume in this moment in the US does not justify an extrusion center to be placed in the US.
Right. Very good point. Yeah, so I guess the key question is then you guys need to buy more of our windows, and so that we can set up an extrusion center.
Like, have you thought about working with any any other company that does window extrusions?
I can't really talk about that.
Like, okay, that's fine.
Warranty, do you want to talk about that a little bit, Darren?
Sure. We're very proud to offer a 20-year warranty. That's 20 years on the frame, on the color of the frame. From if you have a foil finish, it's from delaminating or fading, from workmanship on the frame and sash. So if there's God forbid a separation of some kind, that you're all covered there. The hardware, we have a 10-year warranty on the hardware, and we have a 10-year warranty on the glass packages. And so, if anything, if there's for some reason there's a failure in the glass package, the glazing beads pop right off, and you pop the glass back in. And that reminds me to mention also is that we can accommodate and have accommodated high altitude glass installations. So we have a system of breathing tubes that allow us to install our IGUs and our windows into high altitude situations.
How long have those windows been in the market?
So I started in the window business working with importers, and I saw there was an issue in terms of being able to service the needs of all the folks here in the U.S. and the projects, lead times and then being accountable, having a factory that's accountable to the needs of their clients, and then also being able to get solutions for our clients that were customized to their needs. And so in 2016, I partnered with the guy on the other side of this iPad here, and we had this crazy idea to make these products available for people who wanted to build better buildings and improve the buildings that they have. And so we initially started off working with the companies that I had been working with, helping them with logistics, helping them with repairs, and we had one repair come in from a client that was over 3,000 windows, and we said, this is crazy. There's a huge market out there, and we need to be able to service these people. And if these windows are coming in from Europe all wrong to begin with, and we have to repair them here, then we need to have a factory. And so we opened our doors to the public, I think in 17, sorry, 18, in the winter of 18. And we started with a semi-automated line, and then an interest grew, and we reinvested and did our fully automated production line that you see here now.
Cool. Any other question? I think I went over everything, but
Somebody was asking about the maintenance on the hardware.
Oh, maintenance on the hardware. So, the hardware company suggests that the homeowner goes around yearly to maintain their hardware, either by putting additional oil in there to lubricate it, checking the hardware, because there's adjustments you can do to the hinges, adjustments you can do to the cams, and so as the building moves of a new building, or you may want to do these adjustments. I mean, I rarely find that that's necessary, especially not in that integral of a year every year. But it can't hurt to empower yourself and know how to do those things. And we're here to assist with adjustments in terms of we have printed information, and we can do video calls with you whenever you need to do adjustments to your windows.
Excellent.
You also, to follow up on, well, there are two more questions here. Sorry, I cut you off. Oh, sorry. How many windows have you produced in your factory? And then also, do you offer installation?
So we offer installation through through one of our install partners. So like this job in the city that we're looking at right now, that's being installed by a group that we know and trust, and there's other installers in other regions that we know. But in terms of how many windows we produce, I haven't stopped the count. I can get back to you. I don't know. More than I can count.
Yeah, but you're not the federal government, so the federal government needed his new address so that they could send a check.
Are you still in there?
Yes. Hold on.
Somebody can.
Yeah, no, I had to. My fault. Sorry, are you there, Darren? We can hear you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you lose me? Do I need to repeat anything?
Yeah, we lost you for a few seconds.
Yeah.
So what was I saying?
Any other question? Yes. Oh, Justin, I think I muted Justin. Hold on, I'll unmute you.
I think that was it. That's what I.
Yeah, you can.
saying.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, there's one more question here.
I really look forward to the day when all of you can come here and you get a hands-on feel, and you can see and feel how the window operates, and more importantly, maybe we could even teach you how to make a few windows.
Darren, last question is: casement hardware an option or standard?
So the standard is, so the windows look like a casement, but they're tilt turns. So our standard is a tilt turn window. Typically, when we're saying casements, we're referring to like the American style casement, where it cranks and it swings to the outside. And this is a tilt turn that turns in, and we can do it a lot of different ways. We can do tilt turns with a French and a fixed mullion. We can do tilt turns that have a floating mullion. So when you open two windows, it's a big clear opening. We can do some really crazy big sizes. I don't have any really big sizes right now, or actually I do, but they're palletized. But you can see some nice windows that we wanted to leave out to show you, and I forgot to show you earlier. But a lot of different configurations, a lot of different shapes. And this order is going to get packaged up, palletized, and brought on one of our 2 trucks to its location here in New Jersey. And then if you're not within our 1 day of delivery, then we are able to arrange for LTL shipments. And then we crate the whole window up in a PVC box and secure the window and ship it to you.
Well, the reason I was trying to, I fluked a few minutes ago was that I was hoping to unmute everyone and let everyone clap our hands for you, because that was a really great tour. But I think I like the technology to do it, but I'm sure the people can have me clap on their behalf, because it was really great.
Well, I really appreciate you all taking the time to tune in, because I know everyone's super busy getting their kids in doing their school, and it's dinner time for some, and so I really like to appreciate you all coming out at the end of a long day, I'm sure, for most of you, and taking the time to learn a little bit more about what we're doing here, and I'm super excited to help all of you in your projects. And so, you can reach me through my email, darren@withwindows.com, or you can call us, and all that's on the website. But I really, and if anyone has any more questions that just occur to them later on, please, feel free to shoot me an email or to call me. And once again, thank you for taking the time today.
Darren, do you have an additional one more question?
Absolutely.
Comparison in pricing to overseas manufacturing?
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, because I kind of whiffed at the cost question earlier, and I would say that we're very, very cost competitive. That's one of our goals, was to be, to make this affordable for as many projects as possible. Now, that's not to say by any means that it's an inexpensive window. It's not, but you're getting a lot of high performance for the money you pay. And so if you're used to paying, if you're used to getting a nicer standard American window, then we're probably going to be cost competitive with some of those windows. But if you're builders grade American windows, no. But for the value and the performance that you get from our line is going to be much higher than you would with those higher end standard products. In terms of European importing, I would say there's a lot of I've seen pricing all across the map, and it also depends on where in Europe things are coming from and which factories they're coming from. And so sometimes we beat the pricing, sometimes we're more expensive, but there's always the value of one that we're here. You got something gets dropped or missing from your job site, we're able to turn around replacements. Something goes awry in terms of hardware needs, we're right down the road. And so we're very cost competitive with many of the importers. But like I said earlier, we started this factory servicing a lot of imported windows, and we saw a lot of issues with the ones, especially coming from certain parts of the world, that the quality wasn't always there. And so we wanted to be more of a bespoke product, because it's a great system when it's made with care. And when you go to some of these shops that are turning out 5,000 windows a day, some of them are, that care is just not possible. And so, and I know a lot of our clients are very, very sensitive to wanting to get the quality and attention that they're expecting.
Thank you, Dan. I think we can adjourn. Thank you so much again, and see you again.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you. Thank you, New
NYC
Jersey
again.
Pacifiers. Thank you, Green Home NYC, and thank you for everybody that attended.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you, folks.
And
Thank
great
you very
job,
much.
Rosario.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening from Quebec.
Good to see you, Alex.
Did a good job. Hi.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
you know,
us.
I like,
How are you?
Hey, my friend. I'm good. Yeah. Nice
I'm
factory
sorry?
you have. Nice factory.
Thank you.
Thank you.
what's absolutely necessary?
What did you say?
Good.
Yeah, well, this is an online service, so